Good morning, everybody. It's Marty the JavaScript Party. It is the first day of June 2026, 9:54 a.m. Believe it's a Monday, right? It's Monday, fun day. All right. So we are working on basically being able to observe our ThreeJS stuff. That is my granddaughter. We are out of town at the moment, so we watched her last night, and the kids are sleeping in, my kids, so we are watching our grandchild. But here we are. We've got our ThreeJS object. It is a geometry, and you can see what data 3JS has. So now if we come over here to our delete, or to this view, and we delete it, and we hit back, you'll see we do have our camera, but we do not have our geometry. So it is time to get our geometry to delete. I think that is the best point. Now, when you're coding, you go through all kinds of different phases, and you sort of get like some really good ideas and stuff. But there's probably at this phase where we've been kind of grinding on this, there's probably no better time where you understand things better than you do at the moment. So sometimes adding this is a good time to add like comments, because a lot of things that are very clear um, is not as clear in the future when you're like revisiting. But so this is our sign for a signal, and then so I'm just going to add like 5 signals. Okay, watch for changes. So that's all those 2 lines do, and then this, all those 2 lines, and this is our get raw data. I wonder if there's a good one for like data. So we're getting raw data on these 2 lines. And then I think I want to change this up so that these 2 lines are together. Sometimes you kind of want to keep your things together. So like all your camera stuff together with all your geometry stuff together. And then sometimes you want to sort of divide them up by what they do. So like these first 2 things, listen for changes. These second 2 things, get raw data, and then this third set of 2 things creates table rows. I wonder if there's a good table one. It's a good one. Table rows. And then over here we are going to assign a table. Uh, assign raw data to the data source for the table. So we've already so one of the things that we made we knew that it wasn't deleting the geometries because there is no delete function, but we also did not know, um, but we really had no way of proving it, right? Like before we were just like, we could infer because there was no delete function that there was not being deleted. But we couldn't go by that if there was a delete function, it is being deleted. So create a delete function, and deleting probably may have worked or may not have worked, but we couldn't really determine if it worked or not. So what we need to do is go to our geometry service, and we want to create a delete geometry service. And we know we have one for camera, so it probably a good idea to go look at camera and see what we do in delete. So here's where we delete camera by stid. So I guess that makes sense. That's probably what we're going to want to do. So that alone, just like we could have just said, hey, delete camera, but we really need to delete by the stid, but we don't actually show it by stid in that other thing. I think we show the stid. Yeah, see, this number 5, I believe, is the STID, but the actual geometry does not have an STID. Now, it's probably not that, it's actually going to be pretty easy because I'm pretty sure we store them by STID as well. See a 3 geometry dictionary, go to definition, it has an ID and a box jumper. I'm pretty sure we use, oh, that's a number though. So this is, I believe our STIDs are strings, but I'm not sure. Anyways, so let's do this. And if I remember correctly, things do get kind of weird because we end up with because when we're deleting, we're sort of cascading down. So when we get to camera, I think we already have that all worked out. Like, so when you delete a camera, you need to delete anything associated with it. Oh, or geometry, you got to delete any materials, anything else associated with it. So it was a lot easier for camera because camera doesn't have any children. Um, Geometry by ST geometry ID. This is going to be an ST geometry ID. I guess it's a number. I hope it's a number. Okay, so this comment doesn't make any sense. Okay, so we're going to delete from this camera, or from this geometry dictionary, and it's going to be ST geometry ID. And again, I don't really need like the cognitive help with this name at this point, but I do think that I will need it um, in the future. Um, if I'm working in here and I'm really deep into this, it'll really save me a lot to have this name as its name. So it seems silly at this moment, but when we're in it, and then that to do doesn't make any sense anymore. And then we do have a published geometry dictionary, which takes care of everything, so that's good. So you would think we were done, but we really aren't. And the reason we're not is because we have to go to the actual delete functionality. So now instead of being down into we've been in these tables and they use utilities and the ThreeJS, but actually we know which geometry to delete because we in our geometry service, I think so that's our 3 geometry service. I really wish I'd have called it 3. And our ST, okay, I guess we have 2 choices. Probably the better choice would be to come in here and sort of follow what this does. Add viz, what this delete does. So we are in our tabular view. So let's go to our tabular view. So we have to change gears completely. And again, that's the kind of thing that like if you're watching along and you've only been coding for a year or a couple of years, you're like, oh, how do you just switch gears like that? And it just comes from practice. Um, when you practice, you'll just start to get into routines and all that. But you got to make sure those routines don't sort of enslave you. You have to like also be really on top of making sure you're paying close attention to what you're actually doing. So see, we have this delete renderer item. So the renderer item, like if we come in here and let's go to our data entries, and then we'll add one. So you see, our renderer has a camera and a scene ID, right? And then a scene has meshes, and a mesh has geometries. And we know that there's going to be more than one geometry per mesh, if nothing else, because of my other little project I'm working on with the planes. At this moment, I'm going over rotating planes and stuff, and I'm setting colors. And in order to have a two-sided rotating plane with 2 different colors, you have to have 2 plane geometries and group them together. And that's one probably the simplest way to figure that out, to set that up. So we know that our geometry, a mesh, oh no, actually the meshes were grouped together. So I think a mesh can only have one geometry. I think. I hope. I hope that's not gonna be a fun thing. So it looks like, yeah, actually a geometry. Okay, so the mesh also has the material. So actually it looks like geometry is super simple. So it looks like all it has to do is delete itself, and that's it. So delete render. Oh, but the idea was, see, renders have scenes, scenes have meshes, meshes have geometries. We can see that easily in here. Now, there's probably other visualizations that we could do that would make it a lot easier to visualize this, but I don't want to go down that path. We're already so far in the weeds. So let's go over here, go to definition, and then, okay, so I'm going to leave that as is, these comments, because I don't really understand what they're talking about, what I was talking about at the time. But so I have a UI service delete renderer. Okay, let's go to the UI service delete render, go to definitions, delete render, then delete render, deleted render service, delete render. So we go into delete render service and we have the delete function, which that made sense to me. I don't really understand why I did this UI service thing, but there may have been a good reason for it, or it might have been a mistake. Maybe I was a little bit confused at the time. Wouldn't surprise me. It's pretty complicated. Okay, so now we're in our renderer. Now our renderer doesn't know anything about um, geometries, so we're trying to work our way to geometries. I believe we're gonna have to go into the scene. So we're gonna look for delete scene by ID. So I have this. What is this? This is delete renderer, and then this is delete renderer ID. Okay, so yeah, we had to. That's right. We had to be a little bit more complicated over here because we could have more than one renderer for a given STID. And if that happens, then things get a lot more complicated. And then here we go. So we got our delete renderer. My son just came by to pick up his baby girl. Sup, Lex? Rod? How you doing? How you feeling, man? Good, 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 good. Um, all right. So now we got our renderer result. So for some reason, I thought we did then cascaded to scene. So here, render. So I think I messed something up figuring this out. Okay. Hmm. I'm actually a little confused at the moment. Render, render, render. Get render. Create render. Do hit back. All right. So this is delete render dictionary. What is this guy doing? Delete render. It accepts an STID. And over here it deletes that. It recycles the ID. Scene. Is it this one? Oh, delete scene by ID for renderer. There we go. Go definitely. Went too deep. Went too deep, guys. Too deep. Deleted. And here's where we delete our scene. And what we're hoping to do is find where we delete our, go to definition, meshes. Okay, and here's where we delete our meshes. Now we want to go down one more deeper one more, and we want to delete our mesh for scene ID, other scenes, delete scenes, all scenes. Okay. So here's our delete mesh. I don't know how we get to delete mesh. Delete scenes for a mesh ID. Has other scenes. So geometries. So this is where we deleted our geometry. I don't know how we get to this function though. Let's do a control F for this function. Okay, so that's just partial. Oh, okay, in there. I didn't go quite far enough. So this is what deletes the mesh. So once, and we are in scenes, right? We are in delete. We are in the mesh service. Actually, we're in the mesh service, and now we're deleting. And here's the geometry service. Delete. Go to definition in here. All right. So other meshes length. Delete. Removes it from local memory. This geometry. So this is what deletes it, but we also want to delete the 3 one. So we want to call, I think from here is where we want to call the function. And I'm confident that this already has the 3 geometry service. So this is our 3 geometry service. I really wish I'd have named it 3. I kind of like taking the little hit though every time. So next time I'll think a little more carefully. Delete. And then removes. So here's where we're going to call our ThreeJS geometry service and say delete by st geometry ID, and then we're going to pass in our st geometry ID. Oh, and I guess it is a number. I was a little worried that that was going to be a string, but it's a number, it looks like. Will that do it? Will that do it, my friends? It may. It may very well do it. Viz 3, then go here, delete it back, and they're both gone. And we could prove it because it's gone. So I would call that a big win. I was thinking that today I was actually going to get the next 2 things done, but I didn't realize, oh no, I still need to actually, all of this is just so that I could delete a geometry and verify that it's deleted. So we can write a ThreeJS that goes in, deletes the geometry, comes in here and checks that there's no more counts and that there's nothing here. So that's that. Happy coding, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.